Welcome back to Reality Bites Back, where we bring you the juiciest updates on your favorite reality TV couples. Today, we've got the scoop on Brandon and Julia's shocking split. Stay tuned for all the details. 90-day fiancé couple Brandon Gibbs and Julia Trubkina might no longer be together, as per several clues that have recently surfaced online. Brandon and Julia, both 30, made their reality TV debut in 90-Day Fiancé Season 8. Julia from Krasnodar, Russia, faced culture shock as she arrived from a big city to Virginia, where she had to start her new life with Brandon on a Dinwiddie farm. Brandon's nosy and overprotective parents, Betty and Ron Gibbs, were highly involved in the couple's relationship, even forbidding them from having intimate relations before marriage. Life got a lot better for Julia after she managed to move out with Brandon. Her relationship with her in-laws also improved, but that was the case only for a short time. In 2024, Julia has hinted at a split with Brandon on various occasions, including recently when she wished him a happy 4th wedding anniversary. Julia revealed that she and Brandon were living separately but refused to tell her fans the reason why. Julia has hinted at his family being at fault, and it's likely that the couple is no longer together because of Ron and Betty. Julia and Brandon had been married for 3 years in May 2023 when she lashed out at her fans on Instagram. Julia wrote a long post expressing that they had not tried to make babies yet because that had never been their goal. Julia wrote that the time when people decide to have kids is not something that society should decide for them. We may never have children. Julia said that no one knew what was going on in her life. She and Brandon were focused on solving important questions about their future. She confessed she had health issues without going into detail. Julia wanted her fans to know that they had no intention of having kids. The fans who kept asking her when she was going to have a baby were being weird and intrusive. Julia's supporters reached out to her in the comments praising her decision to be child-free. They asked her to take things slow and not feel bad about her choice to have children or not. Julia should have been doing what she thought was best for her and Brandon. However, Brandon had a completely different take on the topic of kids. In June 2023, Brandon shared a photo of him kissing Julia and added, "I keep hearing this question from everyone, and they ask me my opinion about children." Brandon wrote that it was hard for him not to be 100% ready to have kids. Part of him was telling Brandon to start trying. He wrote that "We had a conversation with Julia, but she said no." Brandon mentioned that he didn't have the right to force Julia or do something without her approval before adding, "I'm talking about children." We meaning his parents and him. His parents control him. 90-Day Fiancé Nania Furbis 5876 and countless others concluded that Brandon was referring to his parents Ron and Betty when he said, "we." It made it seem like Brandon's parents were involved in yet another conversation in his and Julia's relationship, which was none of their business. Brandon's followers told him there shouldn't have been any "we" in this case, just him and his wife. He was asked to keep his parents out of it, especially any decisions about kids, if he had an ounce of respect for Julia. Brandon didn't respond to any of the comments. Julia and Brandon's last appearance together in the franchise was in 2024's 90-Day Diaries. The couple were shown discussing how they were struggling financially. Brandon wished for Julia to get a job even if it was a small one. However, Julia admitted she had tried her hand at everything but had failed miserably at keeping one. Julia used to work as a go-go dancer in South Korea when she met Brandon. While Brandon's family didn't have any issues with Julia's past profession, they didn't want her to continue working in strip clubs even in the U.S. "I try and you see every job that I start I failed." Julia had been helping Brandon's dad on their farm and participating in their dog breeding business. Julia had worked as a professional dancer waitress, babysitter, administrator, saleswoman, hookup girl, fitness instructor, writer, designer, and more in the past. Since coming to the U.S., viewers have seen her try her hand at everything from modeling to dog training to stand-up comedy. Unfortunately, Julia was failing at everything and thought of going back to dancing. Julia was sure that she could make a double of what Brandon made by dancing at the strip club. "I have big tips when I work in Go-Go Dancer." Brandon told Julia he didn't want her to be doing what a lot of proud guys, probably